Welcome to AD and RD on DC Podcast. This is our fourth episode. It is Friday, October 19th, 2012, and we are coming to you from two different places in the world, in the country. I'm Roberto.
And I'm Al, the AD.
Yeah, he's the AD, I'm the RD of the title. And we just want to welcome you to our new episode. Last time we've been dedicating episodes to a particular character in the DC world. The first episode was our intro. Second episode was about the Dark Knight, Batman. Third episode, which was the last one, was about the Man of Steel, Superman. And today, our character is Wonder Woman, who we're going to cover. Last time we said, if you remember, those of you that got to hear the other ones, we decided we're going to do, beginning of the show, give you some DC news, anything that we have found online or on TV or anything that is in relevance to DC. And then we're going to do about 30-minute review of the new DC television show, CW Arrow. And last week was the first episode, so Al and I are ready to review it, talk about it, say what we liked about it, didn't like about it. And then after that, we'll jump right into our topic for the day, which is Wonder Woman. So why don't we, let's go ahead and jump right into the news, Al. You want to talk about what you found, you want to share with everybody?
All right, first of all, I just noticed that we are in Supervillains Month at DC Comics. So if you like villains, now is the time to get their comics. They're probably going to be on sale or something. I don't know what the Supervillains Month is all about. Go by your nearest comic book shop, check out the DC Comics, and look at some villains. The best villains are in DC, after all. Another thing, for those of you who were fans of the Smallville TV show, DC decided to continue the series in comic book form with Smallville Season 11, the comic. They're up to the 20th issue right now, and they're actually calling him Superman, so that's exciting.
That is really cool.
Yeah, we just found out about him, about this whole Smallville comic stuff. So it's exciting. I think we might check it out ourselves. So yeah, that's about all. If you have any other... most of what we come up with, we get from either the DC website or the DC Facebook page. So you can always check those out for more stuff beyond what we're telling you here on this podcast. Roberto, you had a couple of things that you wanted to talk about too?
Yeah, well, first I want to say about that, man. I found out about the Smallville comics a couple weeks ago, and I was like, what? I didn't know. I didn't know that they were continuing the Smallville mythos even after the show with the comics. I think that's really cool. I haven't been able to read any of them yet. I'm hoping to get to do that. That would be pretty cool. But saying that, I do want to talk about a story I came across about a week ago that I told Al I have to share with everybody. And it's about the comic. It's about comic books. Particularly a new comic that's coming out next year, 2013, and basically next year, 2013, is the 75th anniversary of Superman. So that I don't know if they chose to release the new movie Man of Steel that year on purpose because of that, but it just kind of felt that just coincides, and that's pretty cool. But also, in light of that, or to honor that, I guess, they're deciding to make this new book about Superman, new comic book, and it's going to be by Jim Lee, and he's a legend in the comic book world, and he's an amazing artist. He's pretty much the one doing all the most of the drawings for the new 52 series, and so he's going to be illustrating it, and Scott Snyder, who's a writer and he's done a lot of Batman stories, he's going to be writing it. And basically, there's an article that you can find on the LA Times, is where I'm reading it from, but it's basically a story that he's been coming up with or dreaming up for a long time about Superman. And he said, and in the article, what caught me, Al, was like, oh my gosh, what made me think I gotta read this book when it comes out, is that he says, in the article, he says that it's a story he's been working on for a while, and it's of epic proportions, and he's gonna test Superman like he's never been tested before. And that just really intrigued me. I was like, oh man, this is gonna be awesome. And then not only that, but they still don't have a title yet for it, but they're going to probably be releasing that title probably the end of this year, maybe early next year. But the book's going to come out next year. But you can, if you go online, you type in Superman comic book 2013. You can go on there and it'll show you the picture of that Jim Lee has already come up with. And I don't know if this is going to be the cover of it, or it's just a promotion picture, or it's going to be somewhere in the comic, but it looks awesome. It's Superman standing there with, like, as if he just tore apart chains that were on him. And it's the new suit that they've updated with the new 52 series. And it looks like he's standing in front of possibly the sun or some kind of yellow ball of light behind him. And Al, you pulled it up too on your side, right? So you've seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks really, really cool. And also in this article, it talks about let me see here. Yeah, Scott Snyder talks about how he used to write for Bruce Wayne and how he just really has always loved the relationship between Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent, and going from one character to the next now, and just how much he loves that relationship and the differences between those two characters. And so he's really looking forward to writing that. And I'm just really curious to see what he does with it. But that's one thing I wanted to share. You guys got to check that out. Just go online, like I said, and type that in, and you'll see what I'm seeing. Let's see. Before I go back to Al, just real quick, just want to let some of you know the newest issues that are out right now, comics. Justice League number 13. Just give you a quick synopsis. It's a new edition. It's Cheetah makes her new 52 debut, and the result is much like the villainess herself, Savage, relentless and unforgettable. And on the cover, it's got an awesome picture, Al. You see Wonder Woman like with a sword, and then she's got her lasso around Cheetah, and then you see a blue arm and a red cape, and you just see an arm at the bottom, and Cheetah's on this person with the blue arm and the red cape, and Wonder Woman's behind her, like getting ready to stab her from obviously trying to hurt Superman. It looks really cool. And then there's a new Catwoman edition. It's the Death of the Family series, and it looks really cool. It shows a picture of Catwoman on like a chessboard, and it's got a mouth with lipstick and teeth behind her in the dark. And I'm just imagining that maybe that could be the Joker. I don't know.
It's probably the Joker.
Yeah. And then the Before Watchmen series that Al had brought up last time. It's Before Watchmen Minutemen #4. And the little tagline here is, the thing about people looking up to you is that they can only do it for so long before you become a pain in their neck. So those are the three comic book editions that I just wanted to let people know are out there now, and you could probably go get them. And that's all I have for some DC news, but we like to bring you some of the things we find and pique your interest and make you go out there and just want to dig more into comic books.
Yeah, that's our purpose here. All right. So, that's it for the DC news. Let's jump into our very short review of the pilot episode for the CW series Arrow. Now, both of us had a chance to watch it within this last week, and pretty much I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the series. I enjoyed the episode. It was it had enough action. It had enough backstory to explain the character properly. So, how about you do a short summary of what you feel like the episode was like to you? Yeah.
Well, I've been looking forward to watching this episode or the show just to see what it's like, because they already done Green Arrow in Smallville, so I was really, really interested to see how they were going to do it in this show. And so I was going to watch it earlier than I did, but my wife wanted to at least see the pilot episode, so we watched it together. And so I haven't been able to watch it again. I would like to kind of watch it again because I was watching it with her, and we had the animals in the room, and there's a little bit of distraction there. And so, I mean, I got to pay attention to everything, but I still feel like I might have missed a couple things. But pretty much it starts off with, and spoiler alert out the wazoo. We're going to be talking about details in this episode because I would like to talk, Al, about things that we liked and things that we did not like about the episode. Right. So let me just give a quick synopsis, and then I'll jump into what I did not like. Okay. So basically, they start off showing him on the island. For a lot of you that don't know, Green Arrow was lost pretty much at sea and washed up on an island, and that's pretty much where he was stuck for some years. And that's where he basically had to learn to survive. I mean, he's a rich playboy. He's a billionaire's son, kind of like Bruce Wayne, very similar to that character in that sense. Came from a lot of money, and so he's just a partier. He's kind of like almost like a Paris Hilton but male version of that.
That's a good description.
Before he crashes on this island. And so this island teaches him to survive, to be grateful, humble, humbles him, and he learns how to fight. He trains himself. He has to learn how to use an arrow to catch prey. And so that's where his origin starts. And then they finally, they find him on the island, and he goes back. Everybody from his city, which, oh my gosh, I can't remember the name of the city now. Is it Star City?
I think it's Starling City.
Yeah, and that's what's weird. In this show, they say Starling City. I always thought it was Star City, but whatever. So everybody in Starling City has thought he's been dead this whole time, but he has a big welcoming and everything, and so he decides before he leaves the island that he wants to fight for justice. He wants to stop people from doing evil things. And so he goes back, and throughout the show, he's having flashbacks of what was happening on the island, what happened right before he crashed on the yacht. He was on a yacht with his dad, which was a little different than the story on Smallville, because on the story on Smallville, he crashed a different time. And on Smallville, his parents were together on a boat, and they died together. So he lost his parents like Bruce Wayne did, pretty much. Or not like them exactly, but at a young
it wasn't right in front of his face.
Yeah, no, it was right in front of his face,
but still.
horrible nonetheless. And so in this show, only his dad died. He comes back and his mom is still alive. And it turns out and when he goes back, I guess the guy that was kind of like their butler, or I don't know what he's.
No, he was the CFO of the company.
Oh, okay, that's right. And so he goes back, and then and he has to get used to being in society again, and some people can tell he's a little different, but he's still putting on that facade of being a playboy and partier, and that's all he cares about. And he basically is trying to figure out a way to fight for his city because he finds out that it's kind of corrupt, and he wants to stop the the corrupt people in the city. But then what's interesting in the show is he kind of they do a flashback to where he's on the boat, and I guess somehow, and this is what I need to ask you about, I guess got like a list of people, I guess, that did wrong things or something. So he's kind of like trying to go after these certain people.
Okay. What? And again, spoilers. But so the reason that he decides to fight is to honor his father's wishes. His father's dying wish was to have him save the city from all of the evil that he did with his company through these other people. So
Okay.
so this group,
That's right.
so the group of people on this booklet that he has were all people that his father had mentioned that were corrupt, evil, no good people that were in the city, and his father told him to take care of them, to make them pay for the evil that they've done. So pretty much he agrees, and then his father dies, and he gets stuck on the island for 5 years. The whole time he's thinking about revenge, and he's training and all that, and then he gets back to the city and he goes after those people on the list.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and so it's that story. It's very similar to the Batman kind of story from the Nolan movies a little bit. So basically he decides to use this persona of an arrow, or a guy with a hooded figure. He decides to wear a hood and use a bow and arrow, and so I kind of want to tell you some of the things I did not like.
Okay.
Or not necessarily didn't like, but was just kind of like, huh, or really, or okay. And that was well, first of all, did you notice that it seems that they're using a lot of sets from Smallville? Did you notice that?
I did notice that they used a couple. And it's very possible that they're filming in the same location. Like,
yeah, which I mean financially makes sense. It's the same studio running it and all that. I get that. But I was kind of angry when they're using the exact same mansion that Lex lived in Smallville.
I did notice that, yeah.
Did you notice that?
Yeah.
For Oliver Queen's house. And I'm like, okay, first of all, the reason why that worked for Lex's house in Smallville is because he was supposed to be living in a small town in a rural area, so that castle was kind of like in the middle of nowhere. Because when you see the shot of it, you could tell it's like in the country. You could tell it's got a lot of land or whatever. And I always thought Green Arrow was supposed to be living in the city. He's not living in a rural area. So to me, and so I was kind of like, really? You're going to use... I mean, now they do show better shots of it now. It looks really clear, really good. They didn't show a lot of the outside terrain of it, but in Smallville, but here they do. But that kind of made me go, okay, whatever. And then I could tell that wherever, I don't even know what's the girl's name that he used to date in the show. I don't know, but she I'll tell you right now.
Laurel?
Yeah, I think that's her name. It's Laurel Lance. Laurel
Lance.
Lance or Diana Lance.
No, it's Laurel.
It says on IMDb. It says Dinah quotations Laurel Lance, but whatever. So like you could tell where she works. You could tell that's the old Daily Planet set, and whatever. I get why they're doing that. So that was one thing I kind of was like, I don't know. Then another thing that kind of, I mean, I can't tell if I like it or don't like it, is him narrating everything pretty much. Which, I don't know, like, it came across kind of campy, some of the things he was saying. It was just like, I wanted him to be more serious, more searching for, like, becoming that hero. But it's like he already knows he's Green Arrow now, kind of a thing. And so that kind of made me go, is there any other, like, I just want to kind of stay on that topic of things you questioned or didn't like. Is there anything
well, the one thing I didn't like, because it's an overused thing, was that he was cheating on his girlfriend with her sister, and then they were on the boat and then the sister dies, and so he comes back and he's like, "I'm sorry, I was with your sister," and then she died.
Yeah.
It's like, and so it's kind of like breaking it to your girlfriend. Yeah, I was cheating on you with your sister, and I'm kind of the reason why she's dead. So it was like double the reason for him to be hated.
Yeah, exactly.
And then on top,
go ahead.
On top of that, then the father of the ex-girlfriend is the police chief, and it's like there's too much. I feel like it's a bit too much of a connection, but.
Yeah, Detective Quentin Lance is his name.
Yeah.
Played by Paul Blackthorne. He was actually on the show The River. Did you ever see that? It was on last year. It didn't make it past the first season. It was pretty good. It was all right. It was a little out there, but we watched it we watched the first season. But he's from there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I didn't even get that was her dad until like 3/4 into the episode. I was like, oh, okay. No wonder why he's so pissed and mad at him. Yeah, and now the fighting I thought was, well, yeah. I guess I'm going into things I like. I mean, I liked the shots of the city. I like the fighting that he did. Like those were really cool. I think they were really good choreographed fights. They look like almost like Bourne type of fighting. Jason Bourne type fighting, it's very raw, very real. All right. So, so I thought the fighting in the show was pretty good. I think the way they did the fighting style was really cool, and I give my hat off to that. That was cool. Some of the dialogue was a little cheesy, but like I told my wife, I was like, because she didn't like it at all. She thought it paled in comparison to Smallville. The first, if you go back and look at the first pilot episode of Smallville, it was good, but it had the little campiness to a little, novelty or a little beginner twinkle to it. So I mean, I'd rather wait a couple episodes to really say if I like the show or not, because.
Yeah.
They get it. They gotta get it under. They gotta get in the groove, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
The pilot is usually nothing like the rest of the show. Like very few shows actually have a pilot that follows through with the way that the rest of the show goes. So I like to go until at least the third or fourth episode. After the fourth episode, then I'm like, okay, this show is either awesome or not so awesome.
Yeah, exactly. And now one thing that I thought was pretty cool is he called his sister Speedy, which is like, isn't that Green Arrow's sidekick?
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. I didn't even know he had a sister. So that might be something new
Well, he didn't have a mother before either, so.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Spoiler again. At the end of the show, they kind of and these in the episode, he keeps getting attacked by this one like crime boss in the city. Well, and he keeps getting he got attacked one time by these one group of thugs, whatever. And then at the end of the episode, they show this guy. He walks up to his mom at the end. It's like, "Do you want us to try to capture Oliver again or something?" And she's and I forgot what she says, but basically they reveal that the mom is behind him getting kidnapped because they keep questioning him of what his dad told him on the boat. So they're almost hinting. They're trying to hint. It kind of seems that they're trying to hint at the mom being kind of like bad or something, like almost like she knew all the bad things her husband did, and like she doesn't want that to come out, maybe, or something. I don't know if I like that.
Yeah, it looks like she's going to be the hidden evil character of the series. And it'll probably be until the very end where Oliver will finally find out, and he'll be like, "Oh crap, I have an evil mom."
Yeah, exactly. They'll drag it out probably till the end of this season.
Yeah.
And I guess they're doing it because they want to create that extra tension of the, like, how do you like arrest your mom, or how do you like, go against your mom or whatever. That can be another moral dilemma that he goes through or whatever. I get that, but I mean, everything else I've heard of the character Oliver Queen and stuff, his parents are supposed to be like these good people, just like Bruce and Martha Wayne. I mean, sorry, not Bruce. Tom, right?
Martha. Yeah.
It's Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne, Bruce's parents. And all the Batman renditions, they always reference how great his parents were. And I thought it was supposed to be the same about Green Arrow. But I mean, it's their take on the character, and I guess they have the Warner Brothers gave them the freedom to kind of play with some things, like they did with Smallville. I mean, before, Clark and Lex were never friends, and they let them do that. So we'll see. I think there's definitely a lot of potential in the show. But one thing is I did think it did kind of just be a little too much for me, go in the direction that Batman Begins went in, and I kind of want to see its own thing. I don't want to see Batman Begins again on the TV. You know what I mean? Like, that's Batman. Like, this is Green Arrow. It's got to be a little bit, like, stopping the corrupt. I mean, I guess all superheroes have to stop corrupt people, but
well,
interested to see what happens next.
Well, Batman doesn't kill, and Green Arrow does kill, so.
Does he?
Yeah, he's shot quite a few henchmen through the heart and with his arrows.
Killing them?
He was killing a few of them.
Huh.
I think in the first fight he didn't kill anybody, but like afterwards, when he went after that Adam Hunt guy, he killed some of his henchmen.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't think he killed him, but yeah, I always pay attention to that because I thought DC did not want anybody to be killed, any of their heroes to kill anybody, but I don't know.
Well, not any of the heroes. Some of them do, but the main ones don't. The main 6 or 7 that we like talking about,
Yeah.
They don't kill.
Okay.
But kind of like with any hero that uses guns or any other kind of like lethal weapon, it's kind of difficult to keep it at I'm not gonna ever kill a single person. It's really hard not to kill people when you're using something like that. I mean,
when you're shooting a freaking sharp knife-like thing into people, it's hard not. Yeah, you're right. It's hard not to kill them. But that just means you got to be better. It means you got to be really good at using that weapon in order to not kill them.
Yeah. Well, Batman made his own weapons. Superman can control his strength. Wonder Woman doesn't have any weapons, so she has to control her strength too. Like most of the heroes, they control their abilities to the point that they don't have to kill anybody to defeat their enemies. But some of the other DC characters, like Jonah Hex, he doesn't care.
I guess so. Yeah, he's more of like a Punisher type of character.
Yeah, the anti-hero, the bounty hunter type. But anyway.
So yeah, I still recommend people to watch it. Give it a chance. See for yourself. I mean, don't just take our word for it. We're just letting you know how we felt about it. Been looking forward to this review. I really wanted to see it. And next week we'll be reviewing the second one. Hopefully there's something really cool that happens in that episode. I haven't even seen a trailer for it, but I did already download it, so I will be watching it. Definitely probably this weekend, maybe even tonight. And we'll be able to talk about that next time. But again, definitely watch it. Give it a chance. There's some things I think people will like, some things that they might not. We just try to point out some of those things that we think you might like, might not like. But hopefully, if you're listening to this, you've already seen it. But if you haven't seen it, even though we've talked about it, still watch it, because we didn't talk about every little detail that happened in the show. So
yeah, so still watch it. It's good enough to at least give it a shot. All right. Okay, let's jump into our...
It was like the whole... You're trying to do like the Hulk clap or something? Next segment. What next segment?
All right. I say it's about time that we start into our main topic of discussion for the day. Today we are going to be discussing Wonder Woman, the distinctly feminist role model. This Amazon princess. Alright, so we kind of have this list of things that we wanted to talk about, so we're going to jump from topic to topic on this one. First
maybe in order, maybe not in order. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Alright, but mainly for the first part, we wanted to talk about how Wonder Woman started. Her first comic was in, what was that? It was...
1941.
1941.
Yes, it was in the...
All-Star Comics number 8. Yeah. So this character, she's based on the Amazons of Greek mythology. They're warrior women that live on an island called Themyscira. And they're pretty much trained from childhood to be warriors. And it's an island full of just really powerful women.
Not ugly women by any means.
Yeah, for most of them. And their main the main thing that they do is that they train and they battle each other.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Basically, like when we decided to talk about Wonder Woman in this fourth episode, I wanted to really talk about it just because personally I don't know all there is to know about Wonder Woman. I don't know all there is to know about a lot of characters, but Wonder Woman's been a character that I've known since I've known Superman, really. And I've always known that she's strong and that she's powerful and that possibly her and Superman might have a thing going or something. I don't know. But I never really tried to, like, understand where she came from, how does she have her powers. I don't know why. That was the one character that just kind of I skipped over. I was like, oh, whatever. She's a woman. She's got powers. She's cool. That's it. Like, I didn't really care about digging more deeply into her. So, but what's cool is after we decided to do this podcast about her, I went and watched some things on her, read some things on her. Her story is pretty cool, and I think the whole idea of her being related to the Greek mythology, I think that's pretty cool because, um, I mean, even though we've pretty much proven that the Greek mythos was kind of just legends and stuff, it kind of brings it into kind of more of a realistic view. It's kind of ironic to say that, but the thing is, because obviously the fake, and she's a fake character, but at least it's a mythos that it already exists in our history. I guess I'm trying to say. And so that's pretty cool that they chose that to bring her to give her to, instead of making her an alien or on a freakish accident or something. They said, oh, well, we'll make her part of the mythos story. And I would love for Al. Can you tell them, like, because we're gonna get into what the comic book world has now. They've updated her origin. Pretty much, yeah. But can you tell our listeners and stuff what she was up until now? Like, where did she come from? Who is she? How was she born? All that stuff. Can you go ahead and tell them that?
Yeah, okay. So pretty much she started off, she was created on the island of Themyscira by her mother, who was the queen.
Wait a minute. I'm pretending I'm a listener right now. Can you explain how? Because this was something I struggled with when I was thinking of her, because I kind of knew a little bit about, like, the island that she came from because of the Justice League cartoon. But how is that there's an island that nobody knows about on Earth?
All right, so it is okay, and this is kind of a cop-out. It is shielded by magic from the gods to protect the women from the outside world. They don't want. First of all, no men are allowed on the island, and if any woman, if any of the Amazons were to bring a man onto the island, they would be exiled. So it's a really strict no male policy on that island, and
which, if you're a dad and you have a daughter, she's a really good superhero to push on your daughter.
Yeah.
No guys, no men.
Ever.
Be like Wonder Woman, hate men.
Okay, so pretty much she was when she was, and the story there's like multiple stories like about how she was created. Like one was that she was born from a union between her mother Hippolyta and Hades, and like Hades tricked Hippolyta and like seduced her and got her to open the gates of hell to allow him to try to rise up and take over Olympus. And when that failed, Zeus cast him into Hades and forced her to watch over that doorway to hell for all eternity.
Okay.
So that's the origin story that they have in the Justice League animated series. Another one was that she was created from the earth. Like Hippolyta actually like created a sand baby and breathed life into it. And that's Wonder Woman.
But how do you say her name? Hippolyta, right?
Hippolyta.
Hippolyta, but she's not a god herself, though, right?
No, but she's been given power, because since she has to have the power to defend the gates of Hades, she needs she has certain power.
Okay.
So that's where that came from, and I think it wasn't just her. Like she also called on Athena or
Yeah.
Hera to breathe to help her get life, like because she wanted a daughter.
Okay. Yeah.
So anyway, so she was receiving a blessing each day from the deities to be as beautiful as Aphrodite, as wise as Athena, as strong as Hercules, and as swift as Hermes. So she was going to be like the uber god or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's pretty much her storyline from the initial stories. Like she just started off as this tough chick from this island, and one of the stories that was shown in the most recent animated movie was that she came to the rest of the. She like left the island because she had to bring this guy who crash landed on it home. It's kind of a
Yeah. We're gonna
story.
actually dive. I really want to dive into that later, but we just kind of wanted to start off with the mythos. And so like Al said, there's basically her mother made her out of clay, or well, I guess clay from the earth, and the other gods kind of helped create her, and they were already a bunch of women warriors on the island. So obviously she grew up training, and so she not only, and that's what's really cool about her, is not only is she just strong and fast and whatever, but she actually knows how to fight. She's trained how to fight. And if anybody's seen that movie Troy, it's a pretty cool movie as far as the way they made them fight in that movie. And I feel like that's how you should envision the way she fights, is like those Greek warriors, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's not martial arts, but it's kind of close to it. It's really interesting, but
It's the art of battle.
yeah. So that's pretty much where she came from. And obviously, and then now with the new 52 series, they've altered her origin. You want to tell them what they changed that to? And so now, instead of just being like created from her mother with the clay or being with Hades, now what is her origin now?
Well, now in the most recent relaunch, they've kind of made her more powerful. She is now a demigoddess, natural born daughter of Hippolyta and Zeus. So
Yeah, so the new like story arc now is that she basically is like the love child between
the queen of the
Zeus.
Amazons and the king of the gods.
Yeah, which is just like Al said, it's gonna make her strong. I mean, this is gonna make her powerful because now, before she was just a warrior princess from the island, from that island, still forged pretty much kind of by the gods, but now she's a direct offspring of a god, kind of like Hercules. So it's like now she's a demigod.
Yeah.
So it's like, ooh, okay, how are they gonna do that now? That's something you guys might want to be interested in going and reading their new rendition of her, because it sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. And on top of that, she has a whole bunch of different abilities. She's, of course, super strong, super fast. She can fly. She's got quicker than usual healing, resistant to magic, and of course she has that magical weaponry, the lasso of truth and the indestructible bracelets and the tiara. I don't know what the tiara does. Maybe the tiara makes her fly. So she's got all that, and that's how she's pretty much able to stand toe-to-toe with Superman and the other members of the Justice League, because she has the right combination of abilities to make her almost as powerful, and even more powerful than some.
Exactly. Yeah, so basically, so that's her mythos. That's kind of where she comes from. If you don't know her origin story, and from there, we're gonna jump right into one rendition that was pretty popular in its time, and that's the '70s incarnation of Wonder Woman, which was basically called The New Adventures of Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman. All the world is waiting for you and the power you possess. In your satin tights, fighting for your rights and your red, white, and blue.
And it debuted in let's see here, in 1975. It was an hour-long series. It looks like it lasted. See here, they have
Lasted 3 seasons.
it lasted 3 seasons, but they have it here for 5 years now. So 3 seasons over 5 years, I guess.
Yeah.
Now I have to be honest, everybody. I did not watch this series. I was gonna try to. I was gonna try to watch at least one episode before today, but I just couldn't, just with other obligations and things. But I've seen clips and things before. What's really cool is the actress who played Wonder Woman, Linda Carter. She actually made an appearance on Smallville, which was really awesome. And those of you that were avid watchers of Smallville or know of the show, there's a popular character on that show called Chloe Sullivan, who was Clark's best friend in high school and even after. And Linda Carter came on season 5, I believe, of Smallville. No, that's wrong. Season 6. Season 6 of Smallville, she played Chloe's mom. And she had a meteor power on the show. And she had the ability to control other people with meteor powers. And of course, Lex found out about this and had her locked up, and wanted to expose her for that, obviously, or or take advantage of her powers or whatever. So that's the actress who played her. A very pretty woman. She definitely looks like Wonder Woman to me. I think she looks like a Wonder Woman.
Definitely.
But like I said, I personally didn't get to watch any episodes. Did you get to see any of them now?
No, I have not seen any episodes of the Wonder Woman TV series. Although the seasons are all on DVD, so I might look into that.
Yeah, I might try to look into watching one at least online somehow. I'm noticing here though that which I didn't know about this show is there's a character that was on the show called they actually have Wonder Girl on the show.
Wonder Girl,
which is a character I'm not that familiar with, but that's pretty cool that they had a Wonder Girl in there. That was played by Deborah Winger. I don't know her from anything else really. I don't think she hasn't really been anything that famous that I could say, oh, this, oh yeah. She has been on Law and Order, but yeah, other than that, there's really nothing else that popular she was on. So yeah, she's already like in her 60s.
Yeah.
But she looks like if you go on IMDb, you can see a picture of her, and she looks very similar to Linda Carter a little bit. She looks like she could be her sister in some of the pictures. But yeah, you guys can check that out if you want. It's just called The New Adventures of Wonder Woman. But yeah, so I mean, I really don't have anything else to add about the show.
Yeah, not really.
It's in the 70s. It went on for 3 seasons over 5 years. I've heard that it did pretty well at that time. Because the '70s, that's right when the Christopher Reeve movies were out. So I think that probably helped its popularity too. Because we got Superman movies and then Wonder Woman on TV. That I'm sure it helped both of those franchises helped each other.
Yeah.
So, you got anything else on that one?
Not on the original series, no.
All right, so why don't we jump into? Oh, this is almost pathetic to even mention the failed pilot episode or series. You can't even really call it a series.
It was one episode.
One episode, and it didn't even freaking air.
It didn't air. Kind of like the Aquaman series. It got made. It was, well, actually, unlike the Aquaman pilot, it was not filmed to completion.
Yeah,
it didn't even get finished before.
And I forget why. I forget why that one didn't. But that's another topic. Well, I guess when we talk about Aquaman one day, we'll get into that. But yeah, I don't remember why they canceled that one. But this one, Wonder Woman 2011, I remember hearing about it, and I was definitely interested in it because any kind of DC character brought to TV or film, I'm interested in. And Al, this is crazy because when me and Al lived together, they did a new remake show of Knight Rider,
That's
and
right.
when we watched that, and the actor that played the main star of Knight Rider, his name is Justin Bruning. He was actually cast to play Steve Trevor in the Wonder Woman show.
Nice.
Which is the pilot who crashes on. How do you say it again?
Themyscira.
Themyscira, yeah. He's the pilot that crashes on there and basically is the first man that Wonder Woman meets. But yeah, I'm looking at this cast list and man, Elizabeth Hurley was going to be in it. She's going to be Veronica Cale. I don't know who that is. But I don't know if those of you know, Elizabeth Hurley is the girl that was in the Austin Powers movies, the first two, that Austin Powers was obsessed with. So she's a pretty big actress. Holy crap. They were going to have Dr. Phil on this show, but he plays himself, so I guess they were going to do some kind of funny thing about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the actress that was going to play Wonder Woman, her name is Adrienne Palicki. Those of you might know her from, she was on Smallville, actually. She was on the season finale of season 3. And she was the girl that played, she played the character Kara, who Jor-El, which is Superman's real dad, controlled this girl and led her to Clark to try to get him to fulfill his destiny. And she was impersonating Kara, which is later on he finds out is his husband, Kara, from Krypton. But the character was not really Kara. She was just some girl that had crashed or died in a lake or something, and Jor-El took over her body to basically lure Clark into fulfilling his destiny. So she was on there, and then she was actually on the pilot episode, I believe, of Supernatural. She played, I think, Sam, the character Sam, on Supernatural. She played his girlfriend that got killed by a demon or something.
Oh, yeah, I remember that, yeah.
So she's been on some good shows. She definitely can act, and she's definitely good looking. The only thing is, though, when I saw her for Wonder Woman, you could tell she's not a true brunette. So it's kind of, I don't know. I know I'm being picky here, but you could just tell that she's a blonde, and she's just dyed her black.
you can be as picky as you want. It's it was not so good.
And yeah, and I don't know. I mean, Al, do you have any inside information on why they canceled it?
initial the first few viewings that they gave, that they showed to critics and to random people, because they do that with pilot episodes. They just, and I know this is kind of just, this isn't doing it justice, but they pretty much pull people out from the street to watch these pilots, and they pay them some money to like tell them what they think about it. And from that cross section of people that they get, they decide whether or not to actually air the show. So initial viewings of it like showed that it was awful, and that nobody would actually watch it. So they just canned it.
Yeah. Okay. I wish I could be one of those people that they pay to watch pilots. Jeez, that's pretty cool. But yeah, so that just lets everybody know if they didn't even freaking air the thing, it probably wasn't good. I'm thinking that it was probably similar to the 70s show, but trying to be updated kind of a thing. And yeah, I don't know. It's just sad because Wonder Woman is such a rich character, such an awesome character from the comics. She's almost just as famous as Batman and Superman. And it's just like, for some reason, they haven't been able to put her in live action. And that kind of, I mean, do you have anything else you want to talk about about that pilot episode?
Only that every time that I saw an article about it, it was people bashing it. So,
oh, jeez.
So it was doomed to fail from the beginning. As soon as they revealed the costume, it was doomed.
Yeah, I think I kind of remember that. They showed the costume. People weren't. They actually changed it. They the first one, I guess it was more like the comic book version where it's like almost like a bikini type thing, and then they changed it and gave her pants.
No, they gave her pants first, and then people complained.
Oh, so they did the pants first and then took them away?
Yeah.
Okay. It just seems that they have not, DC and Warner Bros. Not been able to successfully create a live-action Wonder Woman since the 70s. And what I was bringing up before I got interrupted was... that it seems like this animated movie that came out in 2009 that you could check out on, you can get it on Amazon, maybe probably Netflix, and it's a really good movie. It shows her origin, and it does a really good job of explaining how the heck she's from an island that nobody knows about. That the world that's kind of sheltered from the rest of the world. How is it that we never discovered the island? I think it does a really good job of explaining that and not making it seem like, oh yeah, right, or whatever. I mean, because you already know it's a fantasy movie, but it ties it in with the Greek mythos so that the gods had something to do with it. Kind of put like the shield over it, kind of thing. And you said it was in the. There was a rendition of it saying that it was in the Bermuda Triangle, right?
Yeah, it's in the Bermuda Triangle. That was one of the explanations for why no one ever accidentally crashes into it. Except, the occasional time when people crash into it.
Yeah. So I mean, I kind of wanted to pick apart this movie a little bit. Like I said, I think it did a really good job. I'm watching it the other day, and like the whole first half, I'm like, okay, this is cool. I'm in this. Like I'm with it. It looks good. I could see this being a movie, like a live action movie. But then, as soon as she comes to the, spoiler alert, she goes to the city, and then her first like kind of occasion or incident being Wonder Woman, she fights this weird creature that's kind of sent from Hades or whatever, or not Hades,
Ares.
Ares, the god of war, in the beginning, you have to watch the movie, but basically he gets pretty much thrown into a prison. Well, he's in a prison on, I can't say this island's name.
Themyscira.
He's in prison there, but he escapes, and he's trying to get these bracelets that they put on him that keeps his power in he's trying to get that off. And so he sends this creature, and she's fighting this creature in the city, which works in cartoon, but in a movie, I just felt like I want to see her fight something more. I mean, I wanted to see her like do something more in the real world, more like, I don't know, take on something in the real world, I guess, kind of thing. Whereas I know like it's have to go there eventually in the movie. But then she eventually fights all these dead soldiers from out of the underworld, and so after all that, once it gets to that part, I was kind of like, I don't know if this would work in a movie. It's fine for animation, but I think they could copy this movie for the first half, but then for Act 2 or the second part of the movie, they would, I think, need to adjust it, make it more believable, more relatable. I think involving the mythos would be hard to do. They would have to probably go there eventually, but it would have to be very clever how they do it. So I don't know. What did you think?
Well, what if they were to make a movie of Wonder Woman? They would have to try to stay away from the trap that they usually fall in for Superman. That you got Superman fighting all of these bank robbers and these random normal people with guns that do absolutely nothing to Superman. Like that's the main point of a lot of the Superman stories. And Superman went and stopped this bank robbery, as if he was going to buy some bread at the grocery store. It's that easy, and it would be that easy if it would be normal people against Wonder Woman.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying they can't have her fight some of these creatures from, maybe. I think what could be interesting is if they. Are you eating pizza? Oh, you lucky bastard. I think it would be interesting if they did maybe go about that, where in the movie they kind of unleash some of these things from the underworld. If they could maybe do that and have them. I think she could fight these ridiculous things, or maybe even another warrior from, or maybe if one of the girls from the Themyscira, yes, I said it, gets off the island, but wants to use her power for bad or something. So it's like she's fighting somebody else of her equal kind of strength, and then at the same time maybe have to deal with the underworld erupting too, and maybe the monster. They kind of maybe go that route that they went on Smallville, where he unleashed the Phantoms. Make it something like her fault by accident, or something where it can fall back on her. Because even something like that could be big enough for the Justice League to take on as well. So I mean, like I said, I think there's a lot in the animated movie that I think you could do in live action. But I just think they kind of went too much with it because they had all these people coming from the underworld, and then Ares turns into almost like he gets even more powerful because he feeds off of man's hunger for war and stuff.
Yeah,
and it's kind of ridiculous. It's just and they have a huge battle scene at the White House. They completely destroy the White House, and it's just kind of yeah, I don't know.
Well, I mean, think of and again, bringing this to Superman. Think of the plot line for Superman 2. When Zod comes in, no one can compete with him. He just kind of takes over.
Yeah.
And the only thing that can beat him is someone of equal strength. So, basically, what I see is something comparable for Wonder Woman is if they were to do something related to her mythos, something to the Greek mythos, any of the big villains from Greek mythology, like the Medusa or the
Yeah.
or like a Minotaur or something like that. Something huge, powerful, but something that we kind of have an idea of what it is already. And then, of course, she could always be one of the Amazons that fights against the gods, like one of the gods gone rogue.
Yeah, I think that could be cool. The only problem is that it's just hard for me to envision that going on, like her battling one of those characters in today's world. It's just kind of like, I could see them fighting in the desert maybe, or like somewhere where there's like no buildings and stuff. But to see them fighting in a city would be kind of weird. But then again, like Thor got away with it in a way, because Thor is from what mythos is that?
He's from the Nordic mythology, from
So I mean,
Vikings.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like that would seem to work. So I mean, I guess they could do that. I just wouldn't dive too much into it. I think you could pull out a couple of characters, like you said, like pull out maybe some of the Greek villains, and then maybe even somebody from her home that like turns against her, like that's always jealous of her or something like that. I think that could work. But yeah, I think there's a lot from this animated movie that they could use. And saying that leads us right into we gotta talk about the JLA, the Justice League Animated Series cartoon incarnation of her. Which is really where I got to know her more, was through there.
Right.
One thing I thought about today that I said I have to bring this up to Al is one thing I did like more about the movie version of her, the animated movie version of her, compared to the JLA version of her. I felt more relatable to her in the movie than the JLA, because the JLA, they show, obviously she was the main character on that show, but I just felt like she was more stiff on the show, more serious, not as human as she really is. And in the movie, she had a little bit of a sense of humor, a little bit of vulnerability. Whereas, like, on the show, she just, to me, came more across as, like, this tough woman and just so noble all the time and, kind of serious all the time. And it's like, and Superman's like that too, but at least he does have a little bit more moments of humor. And even Batman too. But it's like, with her, she's just kind of, like, serious. I just feel like she's more serious all the time. And obviously on that show, Flash was the comic relief or whatever, but
Right.
That's what I took from that. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know about you, but I felt like she was a little bit more relatable in the movie than she was in the cartoon.
Well, in the animated series in the Justice League, they kind of threw her in as kind of the world is in trouble and they need my help, so I'm going to just leave. And so she took the tiara and the armor, the suit that she wears, and the lasso and the bracelets, and she just left. And she went to go help the Justice League, and then she kind of just stayed with them for a while. Then in a later episode, they bring in kind of her backstory. They have her go back to Themyscira, and everybody's turned to stone, and then you see a more vulnerable side of her. But for the most part, I do agree she is very stiff in that show, but they need those kind of stiff characters, mostly because, well, the Flash is the big goofball of the group, and Superman is the moral high ground, but he is kind of like a Boy Scout. He's just like, he'll joke around a little bit, and he'll like do a little wisecrack or something, but then he's back to serious, and Batman's always serious.
Yeah.
So
And sometimes Batman and Superman, they'll make little comments. They're not like purposely goofy or anything like Flash, but at least you do get to see somewhat of a more human side of both of them, because you get to sometimes see Superman as Clark, you get to see Batman as Bruce. Flash is always goofy, no matter if he's Wally West or Barry Allen or himself, whatever, or Flash. And Green Lantern is he's also another one that's more serious too all the time, like Wonder Woman.
Yeah, but he does crack a few jokes. I think it's because the rest of the characters, well, except for Hawk Girl, the rest of the characters were like raised on Earth with everybody else, and everybody else has humor.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good.
But she's a part of a warrior group, so her and Hawk Girl both have the same kind of personality. It's kind of a.
Wait, did you say Hawk Girl or Hot Girl?
Hawk Girl. Hawk.
It sounded like you said Hot Girl.
Yeah, no. But yeah, those two, they have almost the same personality. They were born and raised in a warrior society, so there's not a lot of room for humor. It's a lot of, you need to get stronger because we need to defeat our enemies.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's true. Yeah, because if you think about it, Superman raised on Earth, Bruce Wayne obviously a human, Flash a human, Green Lantern a human. The two characters that are the most stiff are John Jones, the Martian Manhunter, and Wonder Woman. And Wonder Woman was she was pretty much raised. She was raised just to be a warrior, to be noble, to learn how, just want to get tougher, stronger, more disciplined, and she wasn't exposed to just laying back and enjoying life kind of a thing. So
another thing, the humorous characters are all guys. You notice that?
So you're saying the writers are sexist?
No, but if you think about it, a lot of and I know this is gonna sound sexist.
Yeah, so I will be giving out Al's email for all you girls. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, but she was raised in a group of all women, and
isn't the word patriarch? No. What's that word for a woman's society, or like a woman or the hierarchy?
I think it's a patriarchal society. Maybe.
Is it patriarchal? Whatever. But yeah, okay.
Anyway, so all women, and even though they do have their moments of humor, if they're all warrior women, how much humor are they going to have between all of them?
That's true. And even if it was reverse, and it was like an all-warrior male island, I guess it'd be the same way too. They wouldn't be that humorous.
Yeah. I mean, there would be the one or two guys that are funny. Like, probably there are one or two girls on the island that are funny, but it's not going to be a big group of them. It's not going to be all of them.
Yeah, that's true.
They'll probably all get the humor, though.
Yeah. So that's one of the main differences I noticed about the movie and then the animated series. But I did like the which leads us into our next topic, which is basically like there are different incarnations of romantic relationships that Wonder Woman has had. I think throughout the comics, I'm not really sure if she really had. I guess her and the guy, Steve
Trevor
was really her love interest, which is kind of weird because he's just a regular dude or whatever.
Well, Superman and Lois Lane, same difference.
That's true. But and then on the Justice League animated series, they always hinted at this idea that her and Batman liked each other or had a thing going. I mean, I don't think ever went on a date really. But they always did they? I don't think so. But I think going to one time.
There was one episode where they danced, but it was Bruce Wayne with Diana, and that was before they knew who they were. Well, probably Batman knew who she was.
Keeping Tom bastard.
But they like had this episode where they it was kind of a date, but it wasn't really a date, and then they always end up together like in some way during like fights. It's like Wonder Woman teams up with Batman because Batman needs a superpowered person and Superman's helping somebody else.
They always somehow end up together when they all split up.
Yeah. So
and there's just that genuine respect, I guess because she's not known any men, and then there's this human Batman guy that is just almost as serious as her, pretty much, and dedicated as her to being like almost like a warrior or fighter.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably where she bonds with him, I guess.
Yeah. And in one episode, just one, I think it was Zatanna who asked Batman if there was something that went on between them. And he goes, maybe once, but not anymore. We're just respected colleagues.
Interesting.
So
yeah. That was a cool dynamic to watch on the show.
Yeah.
Because, to see that two of the two out of the royal trinity of
DC. Yeah.
Interested in each other. Which leads us into the next one, because now in the new 52 series, it was big news. We talked about it, I think, on the first podcast.
Probably, yeah.
A little bit that because it was the cover of one of the Justice League editions, and I watched a whole video on. And you could probably, I don't know if you could. It's probably not on the DC Comics website anymore because that was like 2 months ago. But they had a video of Jim Lee drawing that cover of Superman and Wonder Woman floating and kissing. And
you could probably find it on YouTube. Almost everything's there.
Yeah, it's probably there on YouTube now, which is really cool. And so, but yeah, so that's her new relationship. Now she's with Superman. So in the cartoon, she was kind of with Batman, and that made some people wonder, well, he's a human and she's a warrior. Wouldn't she want somebody just as strong? But the thing is, I think they bonded over the fact that he was a person as her to being a warrior, and stuff like that. And then now I think with making Superman and Wonder Woman together, because I think their approach now is, and I haven't read them yet. I need to read them, but maybe it's because now that she is like a demigod, that maybe she's like, she's attracted to him because he's as equally as strong or powerful. And so it's like, well, it's just a kind of an easy transition or easy...
a match made in Olympus.
Yeah. There you go. What do you think of that? I mean, do you like seeing her more with Batman? I mean, you're a Batman guy, so I can see maybe you want her to go that route, but do you... I mean, I just think it's weird. I don't know what the heck happened with Lois, so...
Yeah. Well, the way I see it, if she were to end up with Batman, she would probably die at some point. Because most of Batman's girlfriends end up dying. So she's a little bit safer with Superman. Like I'm of course along with the majority of people who would rather see Superman with Lois Lane, but I guess that combo did like make sense. They're two super powered, crazy awesome people, so it's an alright matchup. What do you think? What is your opinion on the relationship?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I like seeing him and Lois. I mean, that's like the iconic relationship over the years. But I don't mind him being with, because I remember being a kid, and I could swear there was a comic at one point where they were together. Because I had the little action figures, and in my world, they were together. But then I remember sometimes thinking, wait a minute, isn't he supposed to be with Lois? But to me, it made perfect sense. He's super powered. He's a super being. She's a super being. She's the most famous of the female superheroes. Why wouldn't they be together? It just makes sense. And so I'm okay with it. I mean, I think it's cool when they redo things. I like when they have fresh takes on things, and even though it might not be what we're used to, like changing Superman's outfit. I like the change. The only thing I don't like about his suit is he kind of has like a turtleneck now, and I'm good. I'd be good with not having that. But I like that they took away the red underwear. That was smart.
Mhm.
I'm cool with it. I think it's an interesting story. I think it's interesting to see how they go with that, and what problems that will cause them.
Mhm.
So
It's probably not going to be very long, that storyline, because kind of like with Batman, it's their colleagues, and usually that sort of thing, at least in the comic book world, doesn't last too long.
but then one could argue that he's colleagues with Lois Lane.
Well, true.
I don't know. Well, like you said, we'll see. I mean, it's an interesting thing. It's not shocking by any means. Like they made it sound like it was so shocking, and it really wasn't to me. It's like, okay, well, I guess that makes sense too.
It was more shocking because what happened to Lois?
Yeah, because I remember seeing one picture of them two together, and you see kind of like Lois on the side, like just standing there, like, huh? But and what's cool is in Smallville, they always kind of hinted at the idea that Lois was better for Clark than Lana because Lois is like tougher. She could take care of herself. Even though they ended up turning Lana into like a character like that, but that was more of the thing that Lois could handle being, the partner of such a superpowered being. So I mean, I guess the next step would be Wonder Woman because she can't get hurt. So it's like he wouldn't have to worry about always having to protect her because she's a superpowered being as well.
Mhm.
So.
All right. Well, the last thing that we should mention, we've already mentioned it in a previous episode, but we should mention that the CW is thinking, they're writing scripts for a pilot for a possible television series about Wonder Woman called Amazon.
Oh yeah, I'm still very interested in that.
Yeah, and it's probably going to be like almost exactly like Smallville. Because it's superpowered person fighting a bunch of monsters, probably episode by episode, and then random teenage angst thrown in there.
Yeah, it seems like they want to kind of do the origin thing where you get to see her become Wonder Woman. At least with Arrow, they they're going the other route where they showed him become Green Arrow in the first episode, and then now from now on he's going to be Green Arrow. So at least that's different in that case. I think it would still be interesting to see her on TV and take it from that point of view instead of just being already showing her as Wonder Woman. I mean, that's always a cool thing to watch a character come into their own. But at the same time, I don't know how they're going to do that and still do the Justice League movie. I don't know if they're going to try to relate it to that. There's still rumors that they're going to try to tie in Arrow to the Justice League movie. But I don't know how they're going to do that.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen. All right, last bit of thing. The only thing that I've heard of was and this was 2 years ago. This was back in 2010. The Warner Brothers CEO said that a Wonder Woman film was in development 2 years ago, and we still haven't heard anything. So probably it was canned, but it was also along with films for The Flash and Aquaman. So those were also in development 2 years ago, which means that probably we'll start getting like whispers again soon, because 2 years is long enough to like write a script for anything.
Yeah, and they really do need to catch up with Marvel. I mean, they need to start shooting these movies and getting them out there. But apparently, if they really do want to go the opposite route and show the team up movie first, and then go ahead and do the individual movies, kind of like X-Men in a way, where like they had X-Men and then they were gonna do like the individual origin stories afterwards. Like they did that with Wolverine. They were gonna do it with Magneto. They actually were gonna do it with a whole Magneto movie, but then that turned into the X-Men. What was the movie? The one that
the First Class.
Yeah, that ended up turning into X-Men First Class instead. So
they were also going to do a Deadpool movie. That didn't happen.
Yeah, but DC really has got to get out a Flash movie, I think, definitely. And they need to do a Wonder Woman movie, badly.
And we know they're going to do a reboot of the Green Lantern movie already.
All right, so looks like we're coming to a close here. We probably need to wrap it up. Makes me sad because I love talking about this stuff. I love having these podcasts, and just want to kind of give the audience a little tease of what's coming up in the future. Well, first of all, if you're hearing this now, you've already listened to the other ones, but we're going to be probably posting a new podcast, hopefully I didn't even ask Al this, so I'm going to ask him on the air. I was thinking maybe to drop the new ones every Wednesday, just because that's when Arrow comes out. I mean, that's when Arrow airs every Wednesday, so I figured, why don't we do that? But it doesn't have to be every Wednesday, but just want to let you guys know that we will be posting a new one every week. And it looks like Wednesday might be a good day. Smack dab in the middle of the week. It's hump day. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll try to get these things. I'm working on editing our second episode right now. That's how behind we are.
We're really behind here, but you guys have to understand that we're not working with professional equipment. I mean, we're using, and that's what's really cool though. At the same time, is we're really using stuff that everybody has, and we're talking through Skype or FaceTime, and we're recording with QuickTime, and then Al is literally just editing everything through GarageBand, and then posting it onto YouTube for now. But we do want to let you know that we are working on getting the podcast on iTunes. We will be doing that. That is a goal. That is our mission. We will do it. So anyway, so that's what our plan is to release one every week, and then also, I'm gonna let Al do it, but I'll set you up. You want to tell them what our next episode is about? Because we did say we were going to be doing one of the main six of the Justice League every week. We did Batman, Superman, now Wonder Woman. But we decided to kind of switch things up for the next one. Do you want to go ahead and tell them what that's going to be?
Alrighty then. Our plan was to go one by one, but now we've decided that we're going to do a little bit different. We're going to have a special episode next week that we're going to be discussing our perfect Justice League movie.
Dear.
And what we think would be the greatest Justice League movie of all time. And pretty much this is our plea to DC and Warner Brothers to make our movie.
Yes.
But it's really just going to be, we're going to put all the elements that we want for the perfect Justice League movie. We're going to put them all together, mix them up in a blender, and see what comes out. So,
And can I say, yeah, and so we're going to talk about what we would love to see in the movie, things that we hope aren't in the movie, because right now the tentative date is 2015. What we hope to see in it, what we hope not to see in it, and and we would love for you guys to give us some comments, write some comments and things that you think would be cool to see in the movies. And another thing is we're probably gonna, well, I guess on our blogs, can they leave messages?
they can leave comments, like they can comment on posts. So,
Okay, and other people can see those comments, or just us?
yeah, other people see them.
Okay, yeah. So like you can leave comments on there on YouTube. Also, I'm thinking about starting up. We'll see how. I'm thinking about starting up a Facebook page for our podcast, so you can even write us. So when we get that set up, you can even write us some emails, and we can talk about something. And I'll read your emails on here, and that can be our topic for a couple minutes, or talk about something you guys want us to talk about, and we'll bring it up. And I have an idea for the next episode. Even though we're did you tell them? Yeah, we did. I'm going nuts here. Yeah, so we're gonna be talking about the Perfect Justice League movie, how it can beat the Avengers. I just had an idea of something that we could do to kind of spice up the next episode a little bit. And I'll talk to Al. I'm gonna see if it's possible. I don't want to say it
On the air.
because in case we can't do it, then you're going to be like, well, I thought you were going to do that. But so I'll talk to him after the show to talk about that. But anyways, so again, we'll see you. We'll see you next week, or if not see you, but we'll be coming to you next week. Hopefully, drop another episode every week. We've recorded 3. Well, this will be our 4th. We've uploaded the first one. Hopefully, you'll be getting those other ones pretty soon.
I'll try to get the next one out next week. It's I got a job now, so yay.
Yeah, he's not gonna live on the street.
Well, living on the street or living on the beach. I mean, it's just as nice. Anyway, okay, so we're gonna wrap up this episode. This was our Wonder Woman episode. Next episode will be Justice League, our perfect movie. So, without further ado, my name is Al.
I'm Roberto.
And this was AD and RD on DC. Thank you for listening.
Ciao.